Hi everybody, welcome to Campground Cuisine. I'm Cindy and thank you for visiting my channel. Y'all, I'm in the Ozarks. Who would have ever thought that I would be able to travel all the way over to the Arkansas-Missouri line? I'm actually in Eureka Springs today. I was in Bentonville and Hot Springs prior to this, and I'm on my way to Branson, gonna do a duck boat tour, gonna see a show and all kinds of things that are going on in Branson. Super fun, part of our country, super beautiful. But you know what else? Super hot. Now the Southeast has been having a heat wave the last couple of weeks. It ain't playing down in Florida. I've seen all kinds of memes about the different levels of swamp that Florida's in right now, but it's hot everywhere. But it is particularly hot up here, something that I certainly wouldn't have thought I was going to have to deal with. I've seen historical temperatures in the 70s at night, which is not bad for, van camping. It's tolerable with a good fan and a comfortable situation. But y'all, it's not getting out of the high 80s up here at night with real feel, with this humidity that they never told me about. Real feel in the 90s at night. It is nasty. Some people may even say stank, but I'm going to stay with nasty. But it is beautiful and I am having a good time. But I tell you what, if I hadn't made a plan for dealing with this kind of heat, I would have had to have turned around and gone home or made hotel reservations for the remainder of my trip. But one thing that has worked out, and I have heard so many of you talking about this, so many posts on all of the different platforms on Facebook with all our different camping groups, it's hot. How do I get out of this? What can I do? And everybody's got all kinds of ideas and tips, but I don't see how those were going to work for me, and I really didn't have the patience to try. But I did say to myself, I'm going to work out some type of air conditioning situation. Now I did buy a bodega cooler and a cooler air conditioner, but I was not happy with it. It was bulky. It was difficult. How was I going to strap it down for security when I'm driving, that, if I had to slam on the brakes, it wouldn't come flying forward. It was not easy to maneuver. And it also had two vents, an intake vent as well as the exhaust vent that needed to go somewhere. So I remembered my good friends Katie and Pam at the Flamingo Lady campout last year, and I believe we were in April in Santee State Park, and we were doing a van tour. It was the first time I'd been to a Flamingo Lady activity. Super fun. She puts together a fantastic few days. Super fun. Try and go if you can. And I was doing van tours, and both of them had been using just the regular stand-up AC units that you might have in your home, that's on rollers, that'll roll around from room to room. You just need to put in a little extra AC for that room. Maybe it gets a lot of sun, or maybe the ductwork wasn't done well. Well, y'all, this has been a game changer. I went on Walmart.com and ordered this puppy. I've got a picture of it right here. And it's super small. It's a 1 foot by 1 foot footprint, and it's about 28, maybe 30 inches tall. It's less than a yard. And I think I have figured out how to use this. I've been using it this whole week on this trip. So come with me. Let's look at my setup. Maybe this is something that you guys can benefit from. I think I paid about $175 that included shipping. I didn't have to pay any shipping costs. My cousin happens to be a Walmart Plus member, but I don't know that that's why there wasn't any shipping costs. It's about $175. I'm not mad at that. The other the other air conditioners can be $350, $400, even $1,000. So this was more along the budget of what I was willing to spend. So come with me. Let's check this out. I'm going to show you how I've got it set up in the van. I'm going to show you the exhaust ductwork, how I worked it into my window, and I hope this helps you. You're going to need some tools. You're going to need access to some supplies. Hopefully you have a friend with a handsaw or a jigsaw is really what I think I used. So come along, let's check it out. Let's see what we can do. Maybe this is an answer for you for the AC, because it's helping me have a good time. I could not have been on this trip without it. Okay, there you have it. So as you can see, the air conditioner is only a foot by a foot, like I mentioned to you. It's not very big. I can still get in and out of the van relatively easily. That is not a problem. It does not take up too much room. And I use these ratchet straps to secure it to the passenger seat. So if there was some type of accident or I had to slam on brakes, this, 40-ish pound air conditioner is not flying from the back of the van towards my head. It seems to work really well. And when I get to where I'm going, I just unhook everything. I move the seat forward as far as I can and the backrest of the seat forward as much as I can, which isn't a lot on my Dodge Grand Caravan, but it does work for me. So I'm going to start unhooking it and show you it's pretty easy to start getting things set up, and then I'll describe a couple of details that I've found along the way. So using these ratchet straps is pretty good because I can tighten it and loosen it very easily and unhook these when I get to the campground at night. It did not take very long at all the first couple nights that I used this. I'm on I think this is going to be my 6th night of camping on this trip. I've stayed in hotels a couple of nights, and it's been so nice to have this as an option when I get to the campground. It's not super hot right now, but it has been blazing hot in Hot Springs, no pun intended. It was so hot those 3 nights that I stayed there that I love being outside, but I ended up spending more time in the van than normal because you were just drenched, and nobody wants to be all sticky and nasty going to bed. Okay, and I purposely keep this tape on here because I've used it a couple of times just to tape something on here that I wanted to keep track of, but you can clear that off. Now also, I actually bought a small level that I put on top of this. It doesn't have to be level, but I like to have it as level as I can. And so along the way, I'm sure you all have magazines at home or whatever. I don't really, but I've gotten some travel books. And when I get to where I'm going, if I need to use these to help level, that's been really good. But it's not hugely important. So that's the setup. Now what I do is I bring the unit out, like I said, a little bit, and I bring this up as far as I can, and the seat as far forward as I can, because this is going to be the intake area. Then the air conditioner has to have a place to bring in fresh air so it can cool it. And then also on the back is the exhaust area, and I'll show you that in a minute. Now I taped this on. I'll be honest with you, this tube did not want to stay in place, and this is what I used to put into a gallon water jug for the condensation. Y'all, if you're wanting it to be 70 degrees and it's 100 degrees outside, it's like a faucet with the condensation. But once the night cools down a little bit, and maybe you don't have it on 70, you put it at 78, 80, even 82, and you have a good fan running inside, I've been very comfortable and not worried about my water collector overflowing. And it's only a gallon, so if you had a 2-gallon or even a 3-gallon jug for this to drain into, you're in business. You can put it at a lower temperature. I personally have just been staying in the low 80s, and I haven't had any problems with overflowing during the night. I did have to cut this. They give you a longer tube. I had to cut it, and I'll show you about that in just a minute. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change angles here for just a minute and come at this a little differently, because I want to show you how I connect everything, and then I'm going to show you how I put the window piece in, which allows me to have the hot air exhaust. Okay, so I mentioned to you this is the condensation tube. I actually put a bread tie on it so that I could tape it to the air conditioning unit. I found that it came out easily, and so this is just a way for me to secure this here so I don't have any issues somehow in the middle of the night it falling out and there being a problem. And I had to cut the tube. It was very long because you want it to go in whatever your container is. I mentioned to you this is just a Dollar Tree water jug. You can use a regular milk jug or whatever you want. But you want gravity to do its thing. So you just want it in there enough that the water drains in, but you don't want it down so far that it kind of gets level with the water and then you start having some problems. The instructions said not to have the tube go into the drainage water. So when this is in place, this kind of fits over here in this corner and stays secure. I don't worry about it falling. So we'll do this in a little bit. Now, the exhaust vent, I mentioned to you, it comes with a tube and it's got this little slide-in piece, so it slides right in and stays connected. I haven't had any problems. Now, when I am working with it and getting it set up to go into the window hole, I do completely have it pulled out prior to, because it's easier to push it back together than to pull it. It'll just pull it out. But normally I set up the window first and then I come over here and connect this. But for right now, I just want to show you it's very easy. It just slides into this groove. Oops, wrong side. Slides into this groove here and it's locked in place. It's not going anywhere. And this is the exhaust for the hot air from the air conditioner, because it's working hard to cool the air, but this has to go outside of your vehicle. This cannot circulate in the vehicle because you're just running in circles at that point. So we'll come back to this when it's time to put the window piece in, but I wanted to show you all of this. Okay, so I'm going to put this back in here. And get this out. Y'all, this has been a labor of love. I had a good friend of mine, Lance, help me with this because I did not have the cutting tools, a jigsaw or a handsaw, however you want to call it. You can't do it with a skill saw, but I created a form, a template of my window, and I bought this wood because it had like a pre-treated side and it appeared to be like a whiteboard side, and I kind of felt like, oh well, maybe that'll help with moisture, but I don't really know that it did. And also it was very challenging to work with. I would get a 1/4 of an inch plywood sheet if you can. You know, just depend on what window you're using. The window I have is very long with an angle with the Grand Caravan, but maybe the window you're going to put this in isn't as long. But I would get a 1/4 inch piece of wood. I would treat it, you know, thickness. I would treat that sheet of wood with Kills and then an outdoor paint, so that if there is some rain, you know, hopefully you don't have any rain, but if there is some rain, that wood is protected with that outdoor paint. So this goes on the inside, and the other end of that round screws into this. That's why I attach this first, because it has to screw into place. And this is in the window like this, and it follows the shape of the window, and I'm going to show you how I just put this all together. It's pretty easy once you get this cut out. Another thing my friend Lance suggested was caulking. So this came with this little frame. It kind of looks like a vacuum cleaner end, and I actually like this rather than the whole big circle, because it would have had to have been a bigger piece of wood, and I wanted to keep it as small as possible. So this was the vent that came with it, and I put caulking all the way around, twofold, to keep everything dry, but also to keep everything connected. This actually keeps this in place, and I don't have to worry about it popping inside and being a problem in the middle of the night. So very easy to do. You just want to get some regular caulk and just pop it all the way around and rub it and get it good in these grooves so that it's taken care of. Okay, so we're going to come back to this. I'm going to need to turn on my car so I can deal with the power windows and get them down and show you how everything's set up. So we'll be right back. Okay, now it's time to deal with the windows. So we're going to get this set up. I mentioned to you I did the template, so I have this form. It's not perfect, but on this first trip it's serving me very well. I cannot be mad. So what we do is we get the outside on the outside, and this wood actually slides right into the window track, and it pops right in there, and we push it up into this top window groove. So this is where the window goes, and it's secure. It's not going anywhere. And now I mentioned to you there's a little bit of a bow to this window. That's just a design. So I try and push the board a little bit forward so it catches it. And this isn't going anywhere. This is solid. So very safe, very secure. It'll take a lot to bust this through. So now we have to hook up that exhaust vent. And so this is where I put it on here first, and then I attach it to the other side. So this has a little lip to it that just screws right in. Takes a second to get it, but it eventually goes in pretty well. And it's actually right here. You can see it if you were closer. And it just keeps screwing, and there it is. There's the vent. It's gone through several turns of teeth grooves, so it's in place. So we'll move back over to the other side, and I'll show you how everything gets set up for the night. Okay, so we've got the vent connected, so I'm gonna close the door just a little bit so I can navigate it. And we're gonna bend this through here, and we want it not too many difficult turns. You want to keep this nice and smooth. If you need to extend it more, you can, but you want it nice and smooth. So one thing I do is I use a towel just to kind of lay over my passenger seat, the shoulder area, because that hot air is coming through there, and I don't want there to be any damage. Some of you have leather seats. I happen to have material, but still I don't want to have any damage to the material. So I put this between the seat and the ductwork. So I'll do that right now. So now we have a nice protected area there. And we've got the duct slides in. I always do that. I always get it backwards. There we go. Okay. And so now we've got a nice S curve going into that door. Nice S curve. So I'm going to close this now because this work is done. And I'm going to tighten this just a little bit so it's not going inefficient. So we've got a nice curve up and out. Nice smooth curve. And I'm going to get the water jug in here. I'm going to turn this around and kind of back it up so that the water jug is in its place. And this is pretty much the setup. And I've got power. Now guys, here's the deal. You gotta have power. I don't know that there's a battery setup. Maybe you have it. I don't. I have a 750 watt EcoFlow. It's not going to run this. That's why I'm staying at state campgrounds, national forest campgrounds, facilities that have electricity and water, which is nice. And when I get here, I just run the power cord. I've got my refrigerator working off of it during the night, and this is going to work on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a good temperature check right now. I've got a thermometer in the van. I have had the doors open for a little bit, so it's gotten some fresh air and a little cooler than it was maybe sitting in a parking lot today. But let me tell you, one key, if it's really hot and you get to where you're going and you're like, oh my gosh, this will never cool it off, run your air conditioner on your vehicle, especially those of you who have minivans with rear air. Get that rear air pumping and get the van as cool as possible so this has a head start. It's going to cool it off, but while you're getting set up, just let it run for a few minutes cold, and then go ahead and turn this on and get started. But I'm going to go ahead and get some details on the temperature before we get started. This does not take very long. It probably takes 15 minutes, and that includes running the electrical cord and all that. So it's not very bad at all. So I'm going to go ahead and get the temperature, get the thermometer out, see what the temperature is inside the van, and then I'll turn on the system and I'll give it some time. I'll time it probably about half an hour, and then we'll check and see how cool the van is running. So just to let you know, the front part of the van's going to be warm because this is going to be warm. You will touch it and it's very warm. It's not hot, you're going to burn yourself, but this is very warm because all that hot air is being pumped out of this. So the front of the van is not really very cool, but if you're on this side and the vent is going in the back, you're cozy, you're good. And you're going to be surprised how quickly and how comfortable you are, and you might even be raising the temperature higher than you think you would. So let's get started on the temperatures, get this started, give it half an hour and see what happens. I'm not going to turn on the car. This is only going to be the air conditioner. Okay, right now it is 86, maybe 88. I don't know if you can see that. You'll just have to trust me. Earlier in my trip, it was 110 when I got to the campground. Inside the van, that's when I had to start running the AC to try and get a head start because it was miserable. But anyway, 110, but today it's not that bad. I'm up in the elevation. I'm up in Eureka Springs, is in the mountain area, so it's a lot cooler today than it has been. So 86 degrees, and we'll give it half an hour. I'm going to get it started. All right. Okay, I'm going to put the camera up here so you can hear the vent. It's blowing out the hot air. So it's been 20 minutes. I set a timer. I fixed my dinner. This says 73 is still the goal. It's been 20 minutes. And where's that red? It's at, let's see if I can get it for you. Below 80, it's at 78. So it's dropped about 8 or so degrees. Probably could have been 10 because I have been getting set up at the camp. So we'll come back in about 10 more minutes and see where we are temperature wise. And that's just ambient temperature. That's not the cold air blowing on you while you're sitting in there or laying on the bed. So we'll come back in a few minutes. Okay, now it's been 30 minutes and I've opened the doors a couple of times. Like I said, I was having dinner and all that, and I'm pulling this out and we're still at 78 degrees, well, almost 76. So friends, I put it at 73 and it's at 76. This is very cool air blowing out, very cool, very comfortable. I wish you could feel it. I'm excited about getting in the van. It's cooled off a little bit here, but it's still hot. One last thing I do want to show you before I kind of sum things up is I was afraid it was going to rain the other day. So I made this rain guard. I just went to Dollar Tree. I was desperate. I actually cut it a little bit. I opened the door and just laid this in there. I covered it with the tape just so it wouldn't be so rough around the edges. But I opened up the door and I popped that in and closed the door, and it basically just stuck straight out like this and created a little rain shield for the vent. So placed it a little bit better. Basically it was just like that, and it just sat there. The hot air did hit it, but it's not like it's going to scald you or anything. But fortunately it did not rain, but I was ready if it was going to. So I'll be right back with a summary of my review on this air conditioner. So that's the AC. It's something that works for me. I can't speak to whether it's going to work for you, but at least it's a starting place. And Katie and Pam have been using this type of AC in their Grand Caravan Pacifica type vans for a couple years, so I know that it works for them. It works for me. This is an 8,000 BTU air conditioner. It should be able to cool a van. It should not be that hard. But this is my first trip with it. I wanted to get the information out as quickly as possible for everybody. It's just lots of people every day posting, what can I do to get some relief? It's burning up out here. And it is. It's been a hot, hot summer. So I'm going to put a link to a similar unit that is available on Amazon Prime. The one I got was on Walmart. It was on sale. It was about $175, definitely under $200 from what I've seen on Prime looking around. But this could be something that helps you ladies. I mean, it is rough and it's unhealthy and uncomfortable to be hot all the time. You don't want to be hot all the time. So keep drinking your fluids. Check out this AC. See if you can find somebody, if you don't have the tools yourself, to make the window form. And I actually got the idea from a guy online. I'll put the link below, watching him put his together. It was for a flatter square window, so like I said, mine was a little more difficult. I do have to put a little bit of packing tape on there to kind of help with the bugs, but that window form isn't going anywhere. It's very secure, so I'm very pleased with that, and I'm super comfortable in the van. Now I will tell you, before I left on my trip and I was doing all my experiments to see if this was going to work, I did mess with it during the day, and I turned the car on, got it as cold as it could be with the car air conditioner going, and then got the air conditioner going itself. I was in the shade. It was like 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon in Florida. It was super hot, and again, with the vent blowing on you, it was very comfortable, but you pretty much have to have the vent blowing on you or a fan to kind of make sure you've got that cold air blowing on you, because it is so hot outside. You know, the air just doesn't stay cool for a super long time. So check it out. I hope this helps you. It has made my trip very nice. Each night I've been able to sleep and not worry about being hot. I still have my little battery fan running because I do like the air circulation. Even when the air conditioner cycles on and off, I like having that air circulating. But I hope this helps you. Look in the comments for the links to the guy who did the video on how he made his window form. Look for a link to Amazon air conditioner, very similar. Check it out. I hope it helps. Safe travels, stay cool, stay hydrated, and hopefully I'll see some of you very soon. Take care.